Hey Raccoons, Mr. Curtis here. Welcome to this year's safety video demonstration. Today we're going to review a lot of key safety initiatives here at Oconomowoc High School and programs as well as routines and procedures to make sure you stay safe while you're here. Yes, our job is to teach you, but the number one thing we can do is ensure your safety while you're here. So today we're going to be reviewing plans around emergency responders, how to respond in an evacuation, severe weather events, and then medical alerts and other team response interventions. We're going to be talking about the protocols, the procedures, and what you can do to maintain a safe learning environment here at Oconomowoc High School. So let's get ready. The most important thing we can do about our safety is ensuring we know exactly where we are. So we're a big campus. We've got two campuses. We've got North Wing, South Wing, Center Campus, first floor, second floor, 300s, Ocon Ave. So how do you know where you are in the building when you're in the middle of learning and transitioning? Let's check it out. Okay, so here we are. As we were saying, the most important thing to your safety is knowing exactly where you are in the building. So if you hear an alert or you hear that there might be something happening around you, you know if you're close or if you know if you're far away. So how do you know where you are? Easy. Every room's got a giant map on it that can identify exactly where you are in compared to the whole building. So if you're at East Campus, it will be just specific to East Campus. Here at Main Campus, it's Main Campus. So we're in room 317. Here we are, your location, and we see the rooms that are around us. So every teacher has a giant sign that says where you are in the building, upper, north, and the room number. So if you're in lower south, it would say lower south with the room number. One of the important reasons why we need to know our location in the building is in case we need to call for help or assistance. So you've heard it before, regardless of where you went to intermediate schools and here at the high school, sometimes we hear things called medical alert. Medical alert's called over the loudspeaker. This is a team of trained teachers and adults that will respond to the incident and help the person in need of medical attentions. The other thing you might hear over the intercom a little bit is this thing that we call CPI. CPI stands for Crisis Prevention Intervention. This is a team of adults that will come and work with a student or a group of students who are undergoing some dysregulation or are in need of some support and just really upset at this point in time. Those teams are called to respond to those incidents. But how do we know we got to go somewhere? You have no idea. Now you're ready. So if you're in a room or a situation where you think a medical alert is needed or you just need another adult or the teacher stepped out and you don't know what to do, you need to call for some help. So you can do this in a few different ways. First one is you can always call the emergency call button. Once you hit that button, you let go. An alarm triggers into the office, and then the office will respond and say, what do you need? This is crazy. Where do you think you talk to communicate with the office? The speaker? No, actually the button. The button will pick up your voice. So it's easier to say, we're in need of medical support here in room 317. Remember, I know I'm in room 317 because it says it right there. Now, all kidding aside, during an emergency situation, you may freeze up. You may forget where you are. That's why this is posted, because they'll say, what room are you in? Very slick. When you hit this button, a big sign comes up in the office that says room 317 is calling. Automatically, I'm responding and going up there before you probably even communicated. So don't worry, somebody's coming. But it's helpful to have as much information as possible. The other thing you can do, if this isn't working or you're not getting a response, is to pick up the phone. If you press 0, it sends you automatically to the office where you can report that you need an extra set of hands.
Hey Curtis, during a CPI emergency, could I go to the bathroom?
Depends on the location. If you recognize that the CPI alert call has been done and it says that it's in lower south, room 160, and you're up here in upper north 317, go to the bathroom in a toilet. But if you recognize that there's a medical alert in room 318 and you're in 317, maybe hang tight. If we need to clear the hallways because we have emergency responders coming in or an ambulance is responding or maybe even the medical alert happened in the hallway, then we'll communicate over the loudspeaker to stay in your room until it's safe. We used to call that a code yellow. Those of you that have been here for a while, where we'd say, keep teaching and stay in your room. Now we use plain language. So we'd simply just say, hey, medical alert, everybody just stay in your room until you hear an all clear. You've heard that before, so it's fine. Sometimes you may be in transition when one of these events happen. We'll communicate with the teachers and with you over the loudspeaker on what you should do. So last year, a couple times we had medical alerts during lunch where we said, just get into a room and we'll figure it out. Everybody did great with that, so always be listening to the important information. When something's coming through the loudspeaker, it's very important. It's important information that you need to know and to ensure maybe not only your safety, but the safety of one of your fellow raccoons.
So what if you hit the button and no one responds?
That's actually a really good question, especially during an emergency situation. The office can be a little crazy and overwhelmed with the information that they're receiving. So a couple things you can do. This is a time where using your cell phone would be appropriate. Calling 911 is okay if you need to get an emergency response or responder into the room as soon as possible. Also, if you pick up the phone, you can dial 911 out of the phone there and get the information you need. Your first step is the office. Your second step is to get emergency responders yourselves. Your teachers can coach you through that, but again, we can't always rely on the adult in the room to be able to lead in that situation.
What should the class do during a medical alert?
Yeah. The class during a medical alert or any emergency crisis first will be given information on how to help. The best thing you can do is gather information and keep it in your head. So if you're noticing that the symptoms of a student, you may be asked to help do that. But the best thing you can do is just listen to the other adults. The worst thing you can do is pull out your cell phone and start all types of drama over Snapchat and filming this person. People that are in need of support, whether it's a medical or a counseling team, whatever it might be, let's respect their dignity. They're one of our fellow classmates, and we don't need to take and potentially embarrassing situation and publicize it on their behalf. So the best thing you can do is keep your phones away and listen and wait for an adult or first responder to tell you what to do. One of the most common emergency response procedures we have here is a fire drill. When you hear the alarm, it's pretty simple. You leave. When you leave, though, there are some things that need to be done. First is you need to know where to go. So make sure that you review in each of your classrooms where to go if there is an evacuation for a fire or a fire drill or whatever it might be. When you leave, the most important thing that we can do is make sure that this red bag is taken. Your teacher will probably grab it, but if you have a substitute or your teacher is the first one out or your teacher's not in the room for whatever reason, make sure someone grabs this red bag because it's all the important information that we need. It has the roster of your class so that we can make sure people are accounted for and safe. It has a sign that shows your teacher's name so people know where to meet up. It has a green vest so first responders responding know adults that work here and they can be easily visible. It's got a bunch of other things as well, pens to take notes, quick first aid if somebody gets hurt or something, and then it has our crisis plan. So your teacher or the group of you know exactly what to do or can reference something, where to go if something is happening and we don't know what to do. 9 out of 10 times this is a drill, but we all know that sometimes we might need to leave the building for whatever reason, and this is all good to bring, whether it's a fire drill, an actual concern where we're evacuating, or whatever it might be.
So like, Curtis, what if you're in the bathroom when a fire drill goes off?
That's actually a great question. Get out of the building, because first of all, you never know if it's a drill or an actual situation where we need to evacuate, right? So just don't assume it's a drill, or just don't hide in a bathroom because it's cold and you don't want to go outside, right? You never really know what the purpose is for us evacuating. So with that being said, get out of the building. Get out of the building. When your teachers take attendance and you meet up with them, they will hold up a card that indicates that everybody's present from their class. Somebody's missing, they'll indicate that to the administrator and say, I don't have Drew Fisher. We then will look for Drew Fisher. You'll be somewhere and we'll be able to identify that you're safe. So find an adult that has the green vest on. Let's face it, you may not know all 150 teachers that work here. So go up to somebody with an adult and say, I can't find my class, they're at a different door, I was in the bathroom when the evacuation happened. Or if you can't find someone with a green vest, all staff members will be wearing their IDs so you can identify somebody that works here as well. Perfect timing. Make sure you shut the lights off and then shut the door. Great job. Few quick things. Stay to the right. I know that's something you learned in elementary school, but staying to the right during an evacuation allows those that need to come in to get to where they need to go. So if we're going out, chances are fire department is coming in and they need to have access to the hallways. So stay to the right. The other thing is, as soon as the alarm goes off, I know everybody grabs their bags and complains. But the reality is that you need to do your best to be absolutely quiet so you can hear instructions on what to do next. Because here's the reality. We got about 700 people evacuating out this door, and if this door was not accessible, you would need to be able to hear where to go next. And chances are, that would be an adult yelling and telling you where to go. And if you can't hear it, then what are you gonna do?
Curtis, what about rally points?
Yeah, everybody gets confused about where to go for a fire drill, rally points, evacuation sites, and all that stuff. Let's make it simple. The first place you go in a fire drill is to your assigned location per your classroom. Your teacher will review it. There's a map in your bag. By the fence in the front of the school if you're at main campus, by the fence if you're in a classroom by Ocon Ave, and to your assigned locations at East Campus. So you go all the way to the fence. The hard thing is to remember to push all the way back. I think we forget sometimes that this is an active road, and even if there's snow on the ground, we may be, we don't want to step all the way onto the grass. But again, you gotta do it. You'd rather be away from the situation and then safe there and not get hit by a fire truck. So once you get to the evacuation site, you now need to think about where do we go if we need to get further away. We call those our rally points. Those are areas where you can meet up with other adults. Each classroom has an assigned rally point. Your teacher will review where they are. Our rally point locations are one of three locations. They're either at the tennis court for East Campus, Ruck Stadium if you're on South Campus, and the West Field's a softball field if you're over here on the north side of campus. So if you don't know where to go to one of those three locations and an adult will tell you where to go.
Curtis, during a drill or evacuation, should I take anything with me?
Good question. I would say take things that are easy to grab. So if it's cold, bring a jacket. If it's raining, bring a jacket. If you got your phone on you, great. But to grab your backpack and to storm out, that wouldn't be efficient use of our time and safe either. Now that we covered that procedure, hit pause and talk about the protocols that you would follow in the specific room you're in now. More likely than a fire or an evacuation outside is a severe weather event, especially at the beginning of the school year in August and September and the end of the school year. We practice this once a year in April, but it's important to know now what to do in a case of a severe weather event. Severe weather event can be a few different things. First of all, if there's lightning outside, we may have to alter our plans around transitions between East Campus and main campus. Listen for announcements around that. The other severe weather incident that we need to prepare for is typically around a tornado warning. Tornado watch indicates that conditions are good for a tornado. I'm not a meteorologist, I don't know what that is. But a tornado warning indicates that the conditions are imminent, that a tornado is in our area. We would likely hear sirens from the city, and we would need to take and seek shelter immediately. If we're inside the building and we're in one of our classrooms, always go back to your trusty map, right by the door. This will indicate where you should go during a tornado warning or during an evacuation for severe weather where we wouldn't go outside. Chances are you would go into our tunnel area or into a room that doesn't have any windows. This is the map for room 114, Mr. O'Connor's room in the lower social studies wing, lower north. The blue box indicates exactly where you should go in a tornado. So in his room, he would report to the tunnel, shelter area F. Once you go into the tunnel, there's a letter F, and your class would meet up there. You'd have your red bag, he would take attendance, and you would wait for further direction.
Curtis, I haven't really, gone in the tunnel or been allowed in there. Can we go take a visit to the tunnel?
Yeah, we should probably go check out the tunnel. You can enter the tunnel through two locations. Both are the cafeterias on North Wing and South Wing. The serving area, that leads you into the tunnel. Hey Chase, come check this out.
Oh, what's this?
Look, a sign to tell you where to go.
Sweet.
you have my permission to be in the tunnel during a tornado. Here we are. We made it to letter F. What you want to do is stand as close as you can to the wall and wait for further instruction. There'll be people at J, K, and we just need to keep this middle part clear so people can walk by if needed. Now that we covered that procedure, hit pause and talk about the protocols that you would follow in the specific room you're in now. We've talked a lot about knowing where you are in the building. It's also important to know where things are in the building. So at the end of each locker set, right here, is a fire extinguisher. In case you need one in case of an emergency or some sort of quick fire that needs to be put out. This is important to know, your teachers know, but it's important for you to know just in case, again, your teacher's out or as a substitute, you know where those locations are. Those are checked all the time, they're working, you're good to go there. The other thing you probably want to make sure you know is where the fire alarms are. Okay, if you saw a fire, you thought there was a fire, you need to tell people there's a fire. One of the easiest ways to do it is to yell fire, get out of the building. If you're under the impression that there's a fire, either someone is alerting you to that verbally, or you see one yourself and you're near a pull station, let the rest of us know. This automatically triggers the police department and the fire department to respond to our location. So we reviewed a lot of procedures and routines. Now we're going to change our thinking to start talking about a framework around safety in an emergency situation. Unfortunately, as we've seen in the news too much, there are people that are trying to take our community and our areas and threaten the safety and well-being of where we are and where we function. So here at Oconomowoc High School, we're prepared. We're prepared for an emergency response to an intruder that might have a gun looking to harm us. We call that procedure ALICE. A stands for alert, L stands for lockdown, I stands for information, C stands for counter, and E stands for evacuate. But chill out. We have a lot of routines and procedures in place to help keep you safe before things even start. Let's review some of those real quick. First, I know everybody's annoyed that when they transition from East Campus to Main Campus, you need to show your physical ID with your picture that matches who you are. That's a safety procedure. We're identifying our students to make sure that you are a person that's supposed to be in this building. When visitors come, whether they're guest speakers or you are having someone shadow, they have to go through a system that we call Raptor in the main office. They have to enter their driver's license, they get an instant background check, and if there's any concerns about that individual, I get a text message to my phone alerting me that there's somebody in the office looking to enter the building that might be unsafe, and then I can take action from there. That's before anybody walks in this building. We also secure all our school door entrances and exits during the school day. You can still get out, but nobody can get in. That's why it's important that we don't prop doors open or leave them open for somebody that might be running late. Just let them get the detention. Make sense? So those are all preventative ways that we ensure your safety during the school day. Some other routine steps is we ask our teachers to teach with the door locked. Hey, go out in the hallway. Come back in. This is just a real simple way to make sure nobody can quick access your room. Or if we're going on to a lockdown, you can easily just shut your door and your door's already locked. So that every time people go to the bathroom, we don't have to get up and let them in, annoyingly. We do have these magnets. So let's say we're sitting here, just having a great lesson being taught by me, and you heard non-emergency lockdown, shut your doors, keep teaching, but make sure they're locked. The easy thing we could do is just pull the magnet and shut the door. Give it a try. If you're in a situation just like you asked, what if I'm in the bathroom during the fire drill? If you're locked out of your room during an emergency lockdown situation, emergency or non-emergency, and the direction has been told to shut your door and lock it, you don't let anybody in, as awkward as that may be. You don't know the full amount of information, or we don't know the full amount of information, and this person should not enter your room. Even as awkward as it sounds, as if it's your teacher. Maybe your teacher is in the hallway working with a group, you got this information, you acted, and the teacher is out in the hallway, don't let them in. Don't let anybody into the room if you were told to lock your door and secure it. So our emergency response framework is the ALICE framework. I said it again. Alert, lockdown, information, counter, and evacuate. Don't think of those as a step-by-step process. Let's start though with the A, alert. That means you're always alert. What did I say at the beginning of the video? Always be aware of your surroundings. Always look for things that might be suspicious or out of place. Know where you are in the building. Alert. Right? Then from there, if you notice something or you hear information that tells you that there's an emergency, that's when you decide to act. In my opinion, with Alice, the most important letter is information. Either you need to be receiving information or you need to be giving information. That's how we're going to stay safe. Not an alarm, not an announcement, just real-time information to help you make a decision to save your life, essentially. So with the information you have, you then need to make some decisions. And those decisions are where the C and the E come into, right? One of the pieces that you can do is, with the information you have, is evacuate. Get out of here. Run away. Go. This is where things get kind of spun up with rally points, right? So where do I go if I decide to evacuate the building? One of the places you can go is to a rally point if you don't know where else to go. Look for an adult with a green vest and they'll tell you what to do next. Or just hang out there and wait for more information. Chances are, if we're in an active shooter situation, the police are greeting you outside and telling you to get off campus and just run down wherever they're telling you to go. They'll also probably tell you to have your hands up. You just follow their directions. It's no big deal. Listen, get the information, and do what you're told. The C is counter. This is a bit more intense. This means that based off the information you have, or based off what you're seeing because you're alert, that intruder is right near you and you need to counter. Countering can be a little intimidating. It can mean physical altercation with the intruder, but it can also mean just taking the intruder's mindset and messing them up a little bit. So one of the best forms of countering, in my opinion, is screaming really loud. I always like to make this comparison. Is you go to a Badger basketball game, and when the Badgers are shooting a free throw, Cole Center's quiet, right? When Purdue is shooting a free throw, it's loud. We're trying to distract the shooter, right? Just like in an Alice situation, one of the ways you can counter is just by screaming really loudly at somebody that might have a weapon looking to harm people. Make sense? Another tip would be to flash the lights. Research shows that people looking to cause harm in a school are looking to cause harm to a large amount of people as possible in a short amount of time. So anything we can do to help slow that intruder down or mess them up will help protect and save lives. The other piece of things that we can do with the information we have is barricade in the room. And you've practiced this. So you essentially have some options here. Evacuate, counter, and barricade. If you get information that the intruder is near you, you're not going to want to evacuate into the hallway, right? So you're going to want to protect the intruder from coming in here so you don't have a counter situation. That's where you would barricade the door shut. Now remember step one. Step one is just shutting the door, and hopefully the door is already locked. Take the magnet out. That's your first form of a barricade. The next thing would be to do things that would keep the door shut if the intruder was trying to open, or if the intruder had a key to enter the room. Again, the goal is not to necessarily keep the intruder out. With your barricade, the door may be opened a little bit, right? But your goal is to slow them down. Chances are, they'll look and see if the door is locked or open and move on to a different location.
Curtis, if we choose to barricade, what are some things we should barricade with?
Good question. And that's dependent on the room you're in. If you're in this room and the door opens out, you need to create a barricade with something that will latch the door shut. Then put some tables and chairs and maybe cover up the windows and to, defend or block against any bullets or things that might be coming in. So grabbing roping, belts, all those things might work. There's other doors that are like push out, right? For example, this will require a different type of thinking around your barricade. Again, making sure the door is locked, but then holding to make sure that we have some sort of pulley or wrap that keeps the door kind of shut and tied to something firm on the wall.
So what if we barricade and then we have to evacuate?
It's a good question. If you made the decision to barricade and now you think it's safe to leave the building, then take apart your barricade and go. But I guess I would tell you to just be aware. Once you've barricaded, that might be the safest thing to do, even if you know the intruder's on the other side of the building.
So Curtis, what if you evacuate and that's the wrong decision?
Sure. So one of the things might be is, especially some of our drills this past year, we saw people chose to evacuate because they heard the intruder was in upper north and they were in upper south. However, we know that intruder may move quickly and they may run down Raccoon Runway and quickly be accessible to where you are. And then you realize, oh, maybe I made the wrong decision. That's okay. You didn't necessarily make the wrong decision. You now just need to act and be prepared with the new information you have. So what can you do? The first thing you can do is not run in a straight line. Move your body movement around, because if that person is looking to harm people, you can dodge things by just not running in a straight line. The other thing you can do is find another room, quick get into the room, and barricade it as quickly as possible. Some other tips and tricks. Let's say you're barricaded and you have information that shows the intruder is near your room. Getting that information out to other people may save their lives. So let's go back to what we talked about earlier. Remember, every classroom phone can dial 911. You can call the police and give them the information, right? Or you can hit the emergency call button and try to relay information to the office. Honestly, chances are the office is not going to respond to you, but it's just something to think about. It might be appropriate for you to consider using your cell phone to capture an image of the intruder and to share your location with people or police officers or first responders through your cell phone. That's a good use of your cell phone to get information out, ensure other people stay safe. School rules don't necessarily apply. Rank doesn't necessarily apply. You can listen to your teacher, but at the end of the day, it's your life. Here's the other reality, is you may be thinking about this ALICE procedure and saying, I would respond having no problem countering an intruder. In a real emergency situation, you may not know how you might respond. You may totally freeze. You may be thinking, I should evacuate, but the person in your classroom closest to the door has already barricaded you in.
Curtis, if we think there's an unsafe situation in the school, who should we report to?
Great question. You've heard the phrase before. If you see something, say something. If you hear something that doesn't feel right, say something. That's part of that alert. If something doesn't look right, trust your gut. Or if you know specific information, or you see something posted on social media, or you see something that looks suspicious, or a person on campus that you've never seen before and you're not really sure what's going on there, say something. Say something to anybody. First of all, any teacher, and they'll know exactly what to do. Officer Parkhurst is in the building most days. His office is over by some of the English classrooms in Lower South. Swing by there. I know you don't necessarily check your email, but you can send an email. You can always email me to let me know that you have a concern, or stop by the office and share that information with any administrator or any adult in there, and they'll get the information to me. And then we can figure out if it's a legit threat, a concern. We'll investigate to ensure your safety. But don't carry that information with you and thinking, it's no big deal, or it's just a joke. Make sense? The other thing I want to push us on a little bit this year is to report information that may damage or harm the reputation of our school. For example, if you're aware and you know of students that are juuling or vaping in the building, or exchanging jewels and vapes in the building, report that just as much as you would any unsafe act. It's not about tattling, it's about protecting the reputation of our building. Now that we covered that procedure, hit pause and talk about the protocols that you would follow in the specific room you're in now. Part of our policies and routines here at the high school is that we'll practice a fire drill once a month, and that we'll practice an ALICE drill 2 times a year. So as we wrap things up, there's nothing more important to me and to the other adults in this building than your safety while you're here at Oconomowoc High School. Know that the adults in the building are here to help keep you safe, but you also need to take ownership and make sure that you're creating an environment at our school that's safe for yourself and everybody else involved. You're familiar now with some of our new language that we're using here at Oconomowoc High School. Our commitment to be grounded in our core values and to be grounded in our belief that we are a school community serving 1,700 people. That we're committed to our goals and our purposes, and that we're accountable to ourselves, each other, and those goals we set. We believe with those 3 key phrases, we can work to creating a school culture that's high on our academics, successful in our athletics and clubs, and extremely safe. So, make it the best year of your life, and the safest year of your life.